Now, I've played and experienced a lot of video game prequels, some good, some bad, some absolutely abhorrent monstrosities we should never talk about. However, the one that stuck with me more than anything else was a journey I never would have expected. A journey that puts us in the shoes of Batman before the events of City, before the events of Asylum, right back to a place that feels so undeniably different, yet so familiar. Back to the origins of a fractured past that has so much to say about both the Batman and the Joker. Back to the beginning of a fable so undeniably epic in its spectacle. Batman Arkham Origins takes us back to a past that feels like it's from a completely different series. Bruce Wayne is cold and standoffish, Batman is arrogant, and Alfred just simply wants to eat Christmas dinner with the one and only family he can call a son. In this story, the Batman is seen as some sort of myth, a terrifying fable where the residents don't even know if he's real or what his motivations even are. Is he a hero, villain, does he want to steal your child's Christmas presents on Christmas Eve?
If some curious child looks out to see who's pattering across their rooftop, they'll expect Santa Claus, not a black-clad bat creature.
Arkham Origins' main threats are the 8 assassins hired to take out the Bats, the unknown vigilante who's been intervening with Black Mask's operations. Every single one of these bosses, from the precise Deathstroke which took me 3 years to beat, 3 fucking years of pounding my face into the wall at the hope of victory. The menacing Bane who will challenge your endurance and intelligence in 2 outrageously enjoyable showdowns. To the pyromaniac Firefly who soars the skies like a ferocious demon seeking nothing but the flames that would destroy the city that caused him so much pain. There's a reason why Arkham Origins is praised for its boss fights, and that's because all of them carry this sense of weight, this spectacle, an undeniable Batman experience which feels like something ripped straight out of the Christopher Nolan movies. And I'm serious, man, every single boss in this game could qualify as a final boss in any of the other games because there's so much care, craft and skill that neither Rocksteady or WB has managed to capture since over 10 years later. I mean, it's not like they're trying anyway, but still. Arkham Origins' biggest sin is apparently the missing identity, the reused assets which made one of the greatest superhero games ever made. The same gadgets and reskinned enemies, animations and assets which are all universally recognized by its predecessor. However, one quick examination of this game's atmosphere, music and overall tone will almost immediately make you question how something so similar can feel so fresh. I seriously don't get the complaints here. Christopher Drake's bombastic OST gives Origins the depth and spectacle which makes gliding around or battling the assassins so undeniably epic and memorable. Specifically, the boss battle OSTs in this game match these encounters so perfectly because they are just so dire and desperate in a way we don't usually see in this series. Because these foes are on Bruce's level, they're dangerous, extremely capable, and feel like true threats that should be respected for their presence alone. The villains in this game are just so amazing, with many of them making their absolute best appearances in this entry. Instead of Bane being a mindless one-note brute, he's now a cunning and resourceful leader who outsmarts and overwhelms Bruce at many opportunities. Bosses that make single appearances in this game, such as Shiva, Copperhead, and Anarchy, explore and capture so many great ideas, which makes me wish we saw them again because of how memorable they were in this game. However, no enemy, no villain compares to what is quite possibly my favourite performance in this entire series. Troy Baker's Joker.
Tell me something, dear. Have you ever had a really bad day?
Now, don't get me wrong, Mark Hamill is a king, an emperor of terror who looms over Gotham's horizon. He is the Joker and will forever be my Joker. However, Troy Baker absolutely nailed the origins of the Clown Prince of Crime, this jester of genocide. Troy had an unbelievably difficult role to fill here, because how do you follow up what is quite possibly the greatest villain performance of all time? How do you explore a new element of this character to make the Joker your own? Well, you do this.
Jim! Have a seat, Jimbo. We'll fry together like two little potato latkes.
Troy Baker's Joker is everything but nothing. He's outrageously over the top, funny and quirky in a way that makes me smile like a convicted Arthur Fleck in a courtroom. However, on the other side, he's dark, scary, borderline vicious, and psychopathic. In this story, we see the Joker at his absolute worst, just somebody who wants to watch the world burn in a quest of purposeless destruction, trying to find some sense of meaning in the lifeless bodies and burning cities he leaves behind. However, in this story, we also see the origins of a deluded love story, an absolute fascination for how a hero could have saved such a monster after everything he's done and all the suffering he's made Bruce endure. After Joker's arrest, we get to play one of the greatest set pieces in the entire series, where we are finally given the context behind the clown as he monologues his absolute love and admiration for Batman. In this set piece, we explore Joker's mind as the Red Mask is guided through a tale of trauma and despair, as a broken man wanders the steamy halls in search of any possible reason to continue this misery, until he is finally subjected to the acid that would define his life, an identity which finally turns his life from a horrifying reality into some sort of twisted comedy. Batman and Joker's relationship in this game is so perfect. Troy Baker really sells the idea of a fanboy seeing the man behind the mask, understanding its purpose but never truly grasping how someone who endured the same suffering would choose a different path. Throughout the campaign, the game shows us so many examples of how Batman and the Joker are two sides of the same coin. Both could have become heroes or villains, but ultimately chose their respective paths. The ending to this game is so perfect because it perfectly foreshadows a future of a never-ending rivalry. In this moment, Joker just wants Batman to embrace an idea of helplessness, the perspective of a man who was wronged and betrayed by a world who promised him so much. However, he's too far gone and removed from the ideas of morals, too fractured by the acid that burns his skin.
You're screaming for your synapses. Inescapable, unrelenting, not at all friendly. You can't even escape into madness!
Batman Arkham Origins is my favourite superhero game story because they not only tap into the essence of these characters beautifully, but the journey is just so damn captivating with so many memorable moments that are still being talked about today. Moments like Black Mask's reveal, Bane's descent into Venom, and Joker finally finding his purpose are all iconic for how perfectly they established this world and all the events that would follow in the sequels. For so many years, I let people convince me this game was bad, it was disappointing, and a waste of a Batman Origins story. However, after playing this game countless times and writing this essay, I simply couldn't disagree more. And based off the recent 5 years, it seems everyone else is starting to change their minds too. So for the love of God, man, if you haven't played this game already, just fucking play it. In my opinion, it has the greatest gameplay, bosses, soundtrack, and without question the greatest DLC in the entire Arkham series. If you have 20 hours lying around a weekend, or maybe just sleeping on this game because you were maybe conflicted if it was bad, this game is absolutely worth your time and is by far my favourite Batman game in the entire Arkham series. Hey, glad you watched the whole video, man, I really appreciate it. Just to let you guys know, I'm going to be doing a £50 or $50 giveaway for both Christmas Eve and New Year's. If you want to be entered into the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a like, comment what your favourite Batman game is and why, and finally subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you next week if everything's running fine and dandy. Take care guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.